the last Ford Everest came late in the Ranger's life. This time around, Ford hasn't dawdled. The new Ranger Uda has barely hit Australian showrooms, and already the 7-seat Everest is on hand to offer all the same off-road capability in a body with space for 7. Like the Ranger, it packs a tougher new look on the outside and, like the Ranger, its interior is brimming with the sort of technology that would once have been unimaginable in a car with commercial roots. There's V6 turbo diesel power now for people who want more grunt, and a refined take on the existing 2.0-liter bi-turbo diesel for those who don't. Ford is casting the net wide with the new Everest. At the bottom end of the range, it needs to take on more budget-oriented body-on-frame four-wheel drives like the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport. Mid-range models are aimed at the ever-popular Isuzu MU-X, while the range-topping Platinum lines up neatly with the popular but aging Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. The last Everest did a good job hiding its Uda-based origins, but the new one is a step, or two, better again. Ford has added extra sound deadening under the body, and tweaked the ladder frame relative to the Ranger to reflect the fact this is a less rugged, more family-oriented vehicle. Of course, it also has a different wheelbase to the Ranger and rides on a coil-sprung rear suspension with a Watts link instead of leaf springs. Ride quality is impressive across the range. At lower speeds, you don't feel small, high-frequency bumps shuddering through the frame like you often do in Uda-based four-wheel drives, and at high speeds it feels impressively tied down. Although it's not quite on par with a Monaco crossover for refinement, the truck-like nature that has traditionally characterized off-road capable family haulers has been buried under layers of cotton wool here. The base Ambiente on its smaller wheels is the most compliant. The Trend on 18s is still very impressive. The Sport comes with 20 standard and the Platinum features 21s, and the ride on both is still decent. We'd be opting for the off-road package with its 18-inch wheels if ride quality is the main priority. The same helping of refinement has been applied to the powertrains. Although the V6 is the flagship, and the car we've most wanted to drive, the bi-turbo and its 10-speed automatic have been updated for 2022. There's a hint of diesel chug at idle, and it sounds a bit agricultural when you really lean on the throttle, but vibrations are kept nicely in check, and the smaller engine still offers a decent shove in the back. With 500 Nm on tap, it's among the class leaders for torque, and the updated automatic transmission isn't nearly as busy as before. Although it still occasionally hunts for gears, it doesn't constantly feel as though it's caught in two minds about what it wants to do. It's a good powertrain, especially considering it's the entry-level option here. The turbocharged V6, exclusive to the Sport and Platinum, is the highlight. With an extra 1,000 cubic centimeters of displacement, 30 kilowatts of power, and 100 Newton meters of torque, it feels effortless in a way the bi-turbo doesn't. It offers a satisfying surge of performance from below 2,000 RPM when you lean on the accelerator, and better in-gear response at highway speeds. It doesn't need to work as hard, and when you need to dig deep, you're immediately aware there's a higher ceiling on what it can do. The 10-speed automatic doesn't shuffle from gear to gear as much here as it does when paired with the smaller engine. There's no doubt the bi-turbo will happily tow, but the performance on offer in the Sport and Platinum will endear it to people who live life with a heavy trailer hitched to their car. It also helps justify what are premium price tags on the two Everest range toppers. Forward of the second row, you'd be hard-pressed to separate the Everest from the Ranger. That's mostly a good thing. Although not everyone will love the upright design and utilitarian plastics, the Everest runs the same class-leading infotainment setup as its UDA sibling across the range. The base Ambiente features a 10-inch vertical display, while the Trend and Up get a 12-inch display running the latest Sync 4 software. The software looks and feels very modern, and Ford has retained some physical buttons for frequently used climate functions, so it's easy to fiddle with the temperature on the move. The menu structure is logical, and the sheer amount of screen real estate means key information isn't buried. It's possible to have your mapping, radio preferences, and climate information on display all at once. For example, wireless Apple CarPlay connected flawlessly for us, although it drains the battery rapidly with no wireless charger. A bit more processing power still wouldn't go astray though. The screen sometimes lags when you're hopping between functions. Most of the range shares its digital instrument cluster with the Ranger. It's a simple, effective unit, but it's not quite as flashy as the 12.4-inch unit standard in the Platinum. Although it still won't show you maps, it allows a greater range of displays and features more polished graphics than the rest of the range. With a tilting and telescoping wheel, well-padded seats that accommodate tall drivers, and plenty of storage up front, the Everest is easily the best 4x4 of its kind out there if you're planning to spend long stints on the highway, at least before you get into the Land Cruiser realm. Ambiente models feature soft cloth trim on the seats, while the Trend gets leather-accented seats. The Sport gets a more upmarket design, while the Platinum features plush-feeling quilted seat trim as standard. The Platinum also gains faux wood trim, ambient lighting, and extra stitching details to elevate it above the rest of the range. Material quality is generally good, although there's no escaping the fact this basic interior design serves in everything from the Ranger XL to the Everest Platinum. Anywhere you rest your elbow is soft across the range, and the chubby steering wheel feels good range-wide, but some of the plastics in the Platinum aren't quite befitting of its price tag. There are some awkward cut lines and joins which are easier to accept in the more workmanlike Ranger than the Everest. Storage space around the cabin is plentiful. The central bin is deep, the door pockets have plenty of room, there are 2 cup holders on the transmission tunnel, and the slot beneath the dashboard is huge. The slot ahead of the gear selector is perfect for a large McDonald's fries. No chip crisis here. The Everest features an upper glove box in addition to the regular glove box. There are also pop-out cup holders on each end of the dash. Both of these are features more commonly seen in utes than in SUVs. Ford Everest is a mid-sized sport utility vehicle, SUV, that has been in production since 2003. It is manufactured by Ford Motor Company and is currently in its 2nd generation. The Ford Everest has been marketed and sold in over 50 countries and has received several awards, including the 2015 SUV of the Year award from Cars.com. In this Ford Everest review, we will take a look at some of the pros and cons of this popular SUV. However, Ford Everest prices are not yet available since they have not been disclosed yet. Therefore, they won't be part of this review. The redesigned Ford Everest is a large SUV that's based on the Ranger UDA. It's due to be launched in late 2022, after the redesigned Ranger. The new Everest will offer more technology, capability, and a new turbo diesel V6 engine. It will also have a new Platinum flagship trim level. Pricing and specific launch timing have yet to be announced, but we expect the launch to occur in the 3rd quarter of 2022. The Ford Everest has always been a big, brawny SUV. Ford has gone to great lengths to make sure that the new model is even more capable than its predecessor.